Well, my editing skills are crap, but can the same thing be said about Once Upon a Deadpool? Stick around and find out. If I could turn back time, if I could find a way, I take back all the words that have hurt you, and you stay. All right. I'm Peter Franson from christiangeekcentral.com and Spirit Blade Productions. This is my uncut review of Once Upon a Deadpool. Now, I didn't see the original rated R cut in theaters or the extended cut that was released on home video a number of months ago. I really didn't enjoy the first Deadpool all that much. And spoilers, I didn't really enjoy this one very much, but I wanted to go and see it. Let me adjust this just a wee bit. Because I was really curious about this move on the part of Fox to create a PG-13 version of this. Why? I'm like, why would they do this with the sequel? I mean, whoever wouldn't want to watch the rated R version, they probably wouldn't have seen the original version, so they're not going to have any context for the origin of this character, but maybe in a movie as zany as Deadpool, that doesn't matter. I don't know. I just found it very curious that they were doing this, and so I wanted to go and just sit down and see this experience. If they hadn't done this, I mean, I didn't, yeah, like I said, I really didn't have any interest in this franchise otherwise. The synopsis on IMDb, which I'm going to slightly modify just to avoid a little bit of a spoiler. After a great personal tragedy, fourth-wall-breaking mercenary Wade Wilson, a.k.a. Deadpool, played by Ryan Reynolds, must assemble a team and protect a young, full-figured mutant Russell Collins, a.k.a. Fire Fist, played by Julian Dennison, from Cable, Josh Brolin, a no-nonsense, dangerous cyborg from the future, and must also learn the most important lesson of all, to be part of a family again. Now, what the major change, as I understand it, from the original cuts of this movie is they've taken out all of the content in terms of violence and maybe sexuality too. I can't remember, that would have, given it an R rating, and they just cut that stuff out and then added in, as a framing device, these kind of like Princess Bride scenes where they actually bring back Fred Savage, who was the kid that the Princess Bride was, being told that story to. Well, he's kind of been kidnapped now by Deadpool, and Deadpool is telling him the story of Deadpool 2, but making it sanitized and family-friendly and stuff like that. So anyway, and those scenes are, kind of a nice little device. This movie, in some rare instances, did get some mild chuckles out of me. So, and that maybe says something, because I apparently have like this cold, dead heart that does not find funny what many other people find funny. I don't find the Marvel movies really funny, and I didn't find the first Deadpool funny. This one, some rare mild chuckles, and so I tip my hat for that, but it's really not my kind of thing. Anyway, let's see here. I would guess that, if you liked the first one and put up with it, but didn't like some of the rated R elements, you'll probably like this one. That's just a guess. The tone is largely wisecracking, meta humor, fourth wall breaking, as the description said. It's likely, I think, very dependent on your feelings for Ryan Reynolds' particular brand of comedic delivery, which I don't find funny. But I think if you do find that his delivery funny, then you'll probably laugh in this movie as well. It also sometimes straddles the line between spoofing dramatic moments and genuinely going for them, which was really interesting to me. I never, because of that, truly felt invested in the drama, because I was like waiting for the punchline, and I just found those types of moments to really slow down the movie, and they were pretty frequent. I was like, oh, they're going for a little serious beat here, I would have preferred just full-on, completely bonkers comedy than this kind of whatever middle road it is that they're doing. There's plenty of action, but I felt no sense of stakes for Deadpool or anyone else. And so I found those action scenes boring as well. And they really only maintained my interest out of a mild curiosity about, I wonder what's going to happen next. But I wasn't invested dramatically in any way in this movie. As far as the performances go, as I think already kind of stated, Ryan Reynolds is Ryan Reynolds. If you like his style and delivery, you're probably going to like it here. The other performances weren't especially charismatic or interesting to me, but they didn't strike me as bad either. Though I do want to comment on the child actor playing this young mutant that Deadpool is trying to help. He didn't feel like a good fit with his dialogue throughout the movie for me. Either he felt a little stiff in his performance, or his lines just felt, maybe kind of fed to him rather than naturally coming out of who he is. There were some times where I felt like he was written more like an adult would talk than a kid would talk, and other times it just didn't seem natural somehow. So that was that took me out of the movie fairly frequently. As far as the stunts and visuals go, lots of the usual CGI and explosions, and Deadpool even calls out a big CGI fight for what it is, saying, all right, cue the big CGI fight, and two CGI characters are going at it. But him calling it out didn't make it look any better to me. It didn't make me laugh at that joke. It's just like, yep, that's correct. It is a CGI scene. And yeah, so anyway, and in the interstitial cuts where they go to Fred Savage talking about Deadpool, there was one time where and this did earn my respect a little bit, where they were talking about some kind of flaw in the script, like Deadpool looks at the screen, breaks the fourth wall, and just kind of makes fun of this writing choice and calls it lazy writing and stuff. And then they cut away, further breaking the fourth wall, to Fred Savage talking to Deadpool, and he says, "Oh, you think that lets you off the hook? You're just making fun of sloppy writing by calling it out. How about you just write better instead of calling it out and thinking that excuses your lazy writing, And so I kind of felt that way through a lot of this movie. I was like, okay, calling out the weaknesses and tropes and stuff like that as part of the meta joke. I'm not laughing at that joke, and it's not making me any more, I guess, forgiving of the what to me feels like a shortcoming in the material. So, and all the visual effects in the world don't mean anything to me if they aren't working together with dramatic stakes. And they could have gone it is. I guess I could still enjoy visual effects if it was just a crazy comedy, but. They were going in the action sequences. They weren't going for crazy cartoonish comedy. They were going for legit kind of serious action beats, but without any stakes. I just didn't feel anything. All right, so is there anything of worthwhile moral, philosophical, or spiritual significance going on in the themes of this movie that might trigger worthwhile thought or conversation? Well, I don't think so. I could maybe just scratch at some corners, but I won't. I think that since the movie spends so much time making meta commentary, I think I would prefer to just do the same here. I think that a worthwhile topic that this movie brings to mind isn't found in the story, but in the production on the meta level. And that is the choice to re-release this rated R movie in a PG-13 cut. I think it's probably obvious that it's not done for morality, but for money. Because you can get more butts in the seats if it's a PG-13 movie than an R movie. That's just, film distribution 101. But I wonder what it bodes for the future. If this move is successful. Will more movies do this, make this kind of move? I'd like to both predict and hope for a future where consumers have the ability to customize movie content. The internet has sort of built this growing hunger for consumers to create their own content, iterating off existing content. A service like VidAngel allows users to filter out content they would like to avoid, like language, nudity, or violence. But, in that case, it results in cuts that can be jarring or kind of clunky. As entertainment moves into more digital formats, streaming or just something that you save to your hard drive instead of having a physical copy of the media, as we move in that direction, I'd like to imagine movies being distributed with maybe television edits included, since oftentimes they're going to be making some kind of an edited version of it eventually anyway. Now, maybe I'm naive and that's the networks that make that happen and pay for that. I don't know exactly how that all works, but even better, I'd love to see Sony or another company release films with layered audio tracks. Instead of going to some next disc version of media, what will be the next format, the next big format? And I would love for the next big format after Blu-ray to be this digital format that layers audio tracks and also that allows users to remove dialogue maybe in a scene, or remove music from a scene if they don't like the score and what it's doing there, or adjust the volumes on those two things, and create their own edits of movies that other consumers who enjoy that movie could watch. Just by basically they'd be creating a file that says, okay, pull this from here and do this with the existing files when you play it back. It wouldn't involve them copying the content and redistributing it, and therefore violating copyright law. It would be like what VidAngel basically does with how they manipulate the playback of media rather than literally re-editing it and making a new file and distributing that. And this wouldn't just benefit people who want to avoid content that they find troubling or offensive. It would be for those who want to tweak their favorite movies or breathe new life into stinkers. I mean, imagine if owning digital playback rights to both the Justice League movie and another movie or set of movies whose scores I love. What if that allowed me to recut Justice League, dropping the elements I didn't like, substituting in musical scores from other movies, and then making that version of the playback of this movie possible for anyone who owns that same set of media files that I am drawing from. Imagine the kind of ingenuity applied by the video game modding community being applied to movies. It would be really exciting. I can just imagine, like, oh, have you seen so-and-so's cut of Jurassic Park or Justice League or Green Lantern or whatever? It's so much better than the original version that came out. No copyrights being violated. More people would buy those movies and those source tracks so that they could experience this user-created cut that's really popular on the internet. So anyway, I would love for that kind of a future to happen. We'll see. All right. So I didn't enjoy Once Upon a Deadpool, but I hope that one day we'll look back and see it as a contributor to a new world of choice given to consumers in how they watch movies. Now, I have no idea what your tastes are in movies, but if I were a time traveler, I'd go back in time and say, Peter, skip it. You're not going to think it's funny. You're going to be bored. Watch Equalizer 2 again. That was a pretty cool superhero-ish movie that you watched last night. This one's rated PG-13 for intense sequences of violence and action, crude sexual content, language, thematic elements, and brief drug material. All right, those are my thoughts. I'd love to get yours in the comments below, and then I hope you'll join us soon over at christiangeekcentral.com as we continue to geek out and seek the truth.